When I joined the medical college, I was so shy. I had no friends, and I would be withdrawn and sitting and watching people from distance. There was a book given to me by my uncle, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So I took that book and I started reading it. It was amazing. I put every chapter of that book into real practice, and it worked like magic. Overnight, I became one of the most popular guys from Bangalore, and next year I became the president of Karnataka Sangha, which is the most powerful association. So things like this have gone my way, and that was one of the incidents. As we went on to become doctors, I realized I went through the history, medical history of some of the great people that we know. They became great because of their service. And this service was to the rural areas, to the poor and the needy. I could give you an example of Albert Schweitzer. Dr. Albert Schweitzer was one of those doctors who went to Africa and served the poorest of the poor in deepest of the jungles where medicine was unknown. He would camp in the open and serve them. He became internationally famous. Our own Dr. M.C. Modi, who became internationally famous he realized in the rural area there is so much blindness, and a blindness due to cataract, which could easily be corrected. And he had the power to do these cataracts. Every rural area he would set up a camp. He has given eyesight back to millions of these elderly people. Dr. B.C. Roy, who was a doyen of service to the humanity. He would have a clinic for the poor, he would have a clinic for the paying patients, like how I later started. Similarly, Dr. Goyal, who was a sheriff of Mumbai, he was a topmost cardiologist of India. He had a counter for the poor patients who could pay or who need not pay. Then he had a regular clinic for his paying patients. I did go around all the capitals of India when I passed to meet the biggest practitioners to learn the art of medicine. And each and every one of them gave me so many pearls of wisdom which I put into practice. The result is in front of you. It's not necessary that you need to live in a hut, not necessary that you should not wear chappals to go and serve in rural areas. It is not necessary for you to be a government servant to do any service. It is service to humanity. That is how I established my city practice. I wanted to have everything a successful person, a successful practicing doctor can have. Whether it meant buying a new car, whether it meant buying a Mercedes, whether it meant buying a beautiful house for yourself and keeping your children to study in good schools. So good practice was necessary. This is totally separate. You need to set apart a separate portion of your week, working part for the sake of the service that is close to your heart. So you need not stop earning, you need to earn, to stand on your feet, to have a position in the society, to support your family. At the same time, you need not forget what you set out to do. When we joined medical college, the only thing we wanted to do was to serve the poor. But these ideals slowly changed, but you need not. You can continue to achieve your goals at the same time, come to do what is close to your heart in the rural areas where you are needed most. It's not a single person's achievement to run a clinic for over 50 years, to serve in a rural area. You need to have people from all walks of life. You need to have your good friends who think like you to help you in your work financially. Then you need to have volunteers who also are ready to do the work that you are doing. It makes your job that much easier. Money and medicines and manpower. So money is a very difficult thing to get, but still there are wonderful people with hearts of gold who can help us with money, provided you use their money properly. Men, you need to develop this manpower, you need to develop your team, and then material, that is medicines. For us to run a clinic, we need medicine. Here is where the huge pharma companies, in my case, Micro Labs, Mr. Surana, goes out of his way to help me. From his father onwards to Mr. Dilip Surana, have all the time ready to help me at any time with medicine. Himalaya Drug Company, Mr. Manal, who is the owner, who has seen this work, now Ms. Jayashree Madam, they are ready to help. The delay is always mine. They are that eager to help us because of this noble work. So it was Hema who was with me throughout. After her, the only others I can think of is my parents, who were supporting me in everything that I did, whether it is monetary support or moral support or family support, innumerable, and would encourage me to continue to do my free service. And then as we grew in size came my team. It was very vital for me to build a team. Everything one person cannot do. You cannot achieve anything big by doing it yourself. So I built a team around me who were very efficient, who think like me, and who could do things without my giving them instructions every day. Shobha, my secretary, Murali, my lab man, Tripurendra, my assistant. They were wonderful. And then I have in the rural area, Krishnappa, then Srinath, and then Muniappa, who each of them could manage one thing. So they would save a lot of my time. It made a lot of difference for me, made my job very easy. It is not that it was a free ride like what we think when you look at it from outside, but from inside, every day was a tough call. We had to calculate everything, we had to measure everything. Are we okay for the next Sunday? There are so many incidents which I recall. Once it was Saturday evening. It is Saturday evening when we take stock of everything. I realized I didn't have Derifilin injections at all and I had to buy them, and I had no money. Then I and Hema were sitting and thinking what to do. Just then Mr. Bharat Amarnani walked in through the door. He said, "Doctor, here is Dada Amar, my well-wisher." First time I met Dada Amar. Dada Amar put his hand in his bag. He was carrying a cloth bag, and he gave me a bundle of notes, a new bundle of 100 rupee notes. So that was 10,000 rupees, which was just about enough for me to buy my next Sunday's medicines. It was a unique thing. This kind of phenomenon has happened number of times. Dada Amar told me, "Come what may, doctor, continue your work." I followed his advice, and there are so many times like this. People would come to me, or I would receive a check in the mail that day or one day before for my needs. It has never, the flow has never stopped. My inspiration would be my parents. As I told you, even as a child, I have been seeing suffering, and the only thing I wanted to do was to do something to reduce their pain. And I knew through my parents that I need to become a doctor. And I was waiting for the day that I became a doctor, because an MBBS gives you the power to serve. I was waiting for that power, which I got in 1973. The very next day, I started. My father inaugurated my free clinic, and the work has never looked back. We continue. We owe it to them. I am because of them. It is my patients who have given their most valuable thing, that is their life, into my hands. And the confidence they instill in me every week, the love they give me every week, the respect they give me, the position they give me every week, it gets added on and added on. It makes me feel even more the desire and the joy to come back every Sunday to serve them. It is them who are our true inspirations. I had a lot of mentors throughout my life who would give me a lot of encouragement, taught me, like Dr. B.M. Hegde. B.M. Hegde was my professor of medicine, and I was his student. He taught me so many things, ground realities, how to use medicine, not study and learn medicine, how to use that knowledge to treat and cure. Dr. Varki, my patient, my friend and professor, who was a cardiologist, he passed away recently. He taught me how to do an ECG. There are things like this, if I think back, innumerable. But I tell you, my parents were my best teachers. Subsequently, my teachers were my patients. And then my support and inspiration is my family and my team.